spring, how you've been feeling about your room and what they brought, and who are you really impressed with that's taking the next step?
Yeah, I mean, we know what we have in terms of Cole and Gabe, just, with the experience that they've had. They're still continuing to get better, refining some of the things that they did last year and then expanding on their roles currently. We're just trying to see what they can and can't do. In terms of the new guys, I mean, there's 5 new players in there between the 2 mid-year freshmen, and then the transfers and things like that. So, Mo's been a little banged up, but when he has played, he's played well. JC, we just got to find a little more consistency with him, but he's shown flashes. I mean, he had a nice touchdown that was all over social media last week, so he's done a nice job. And then Walt, completely new to the position, has been a career quarterback, and so he's really only had 11 true practices as a tight end, and he's doing a good job showing his physicality. We just could continue refining some of the fundamental side of things. So they're all getting better. They're all improving. The 2 freshmen, Adam and T, they came in, and it was also new for them, and they were kind of swimming at the beginning, but they're doing a good job now, and they're kind of up to speed and kind of getting with the program.
How do you feel like Walt has done with that transition, just given that Eli had to kind of go through the same thing?
Yeah, so Eli at least got his feet wet at New Mexico State, playing a little bit more like that flexed out hybrid type receiver tight end. So it wasn't all completely new. This was brand new for Walt. Walt had never been in a receiver stance, in a 3-point stance. He'd never been asked to block. He'd never run a route. At least Eli had. So I think Eli came in further ahead. But Walt's doing a really nice job. I mean, physically, he's over 250 pounds, and we're going to be asking him to do some stuff that we didn't really put on Eli's plate.
Who do you feel like's kind of really stepped up in a leadership role from maybe a vocal standpoint without Eli?
Yeah, Cole's doing a really good job. Cole was vocal even with Eli here. I mean, they were really a good 1-2 punch last year. But I mean, Cole's the leader for sure. And then Gabe's doing a really nice job too. He's played a lot of football here, and he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's doing a good job kind of helping the young guys along.
Could you take us through the process of getting Walt and figuring out that he was going to play tight end?
Yeah, so we weren't sure if we were going to be needing to take another one. This all kind of happened along the same time as when we moved Bryson to receiver. So that kind of opened up a spot tight end wise. So, obviously loved Walt as a person when he was here. Thought he was talented, obviously big and athletic. Just for whatever reason didn't work quarterback wise, and so he tried it 2 other places and just still didn't click. So, he was open to exploring new opportunities, and obviously we knew his character. We knew him as a person, and we kind of felt like he was going to be a low risk, high reward type guy. So, really excited that we got him. He's doing a good job.
How do you go about replacing the production of someone like Eli?
Yeah, so I think that, it's probably not just going to be one true person. I think that overall as a unit, there's probably a little bit, I don't want to say better, but a little bit different depth just in terms of the skill sets that we have right now. I expect Cole to continue moving forward in the pass game. JC's talented, Walt's talented. We'll kind of see if anyone else pops in that sense, but our receivers are doing a good job too. Obviously Bryson moved from tight end to receiver, so it'll kind of be a evolution throughout the rest of spring and fall camp and even through the season. I'm sure that whoever our number 1 target is versus Austin P probably won't be after we finish the season.
With Cole Spence, how much of him coming back did you feel like could enable him to be more of a pass catcher this year?
Yeah, so obviously, with Eli, I mean, he was the core target pass game wise. Team's leading receiver the 2 years he was here. Cole's just a guy that we trust, and he is talented. He is skilled. He's doing a good job. He did a good job pass game last year, and without Eli in the bowl game, I think he was able to kind of show a little bit more and get out of what we had been doing previously with him. So yeah, I mean, Cole's going to continue getting better and having some good opportunities.
Drafts in a couple of weeks. Just what's your case for Eli to be a first rounder?
Yeah, I mean, he's rock solid. On and off the field. I mean, he's a high character guy. Super passionate about his faith. He's a guy who's gone through adversity. So a lot of teams are curious about bringing guys in without an injury history, because God forbid something happens in the NFL. how are they going to respond? How are they going to react? How are they going to attack their rehab? Eli's already done that twice at A&M and, leaving high school. So, he knows that way. Obviously super talented in the pass game. I believe he can do it in the run game too. We just, we had guys like Manny and Gabe, so, didn't ask him to do too much. But I mean, he can do it, and he'll do it at a high level in the NFL. And whoever takes him, they're going to look very, very smart.